The last thing I would say to you is that I believe has helped me in my journey is the P word, prayer. Prayer. Prayer, prayer, prayer. I don't believe I can do what I do if I don't have a life of prayer. You know, I've shared some testimonies on my page about what God has done through my music, what people send to me on a daily basis, the comments that I get, the feedback that I get from people. I've shared that with many of you on my pages. Those things could never happen without the God behind the music. So even though you may not be in the music ministry, maybe you're not called to be a pianist like me, or you're not called to be in ministry at all. No matter what you do in life, prayer is the key. And I'm going to tell you why prayer is very important. Prayer helps you to really know what God has called you to do. Number one, you know, I told you to discover the little that God has given you. Prayer helps you to even discover what you've been given. It helps you to discover that. It's during that time of prayer that God will reveal things to you that you may not even know about yourself. So prayer is the foundation upon which everything else is built. So either you're in the ministry or not, prayer is important. It should be the foundation upon which you build your life. Remember that story in the book of Matthew that says there were two men. One was building his life on the sand, and one was building his life on the rock. What was the difference? One was building according to the plan of God. The other was just building anyhow. What happened? Storm came, hit both of them. One house came crushing down, one house was standing. Prayer should be the foundation for everything you do. Either you're in ministry or not. It doesn't matter, because some people will say, oh, prayer is only for people in the ministry. Prayer is for people like Deputy Keys, or if you're a pastor or you're a minister. No, it's not. It is not. Prayer is actually essential for life. It's essential for life. I don't know how people can go through life without prayer. Actually, you know what? Let me say this. The highest form of pride is prayerlessness. The highest form of pride is prayerlessness. It's to assume that you figure this thing out, you don't need God anymore. That is pride. Pride. When you get to a place where you've assumed that I don't need God anymore, I can figure this out on my own, you are walking in pride. Prayer is something that helps us to humble ourselves. We go to God and say, God, I don't know how to do this. Help me. Help me, God. I don't know how to do this. Help me to do this. That's what prayer does. Prayer helps you to lean on God. So no matter what you're doing or what you've been called to do, either, like I said, in ministry or not in ministry, prayer should be a very essential part of our lives. It would help you to discover the little that you've been given. And secondly, it will help you to discover how you are supposed to use that little. One mistake that I see a lot of people make is we make the mistake of assumption. So this is what I mean by that. So I'm gifted to play the keyboard. I'm a musician. I love music. Let's say one of my friends who is gifted to play the keyboard is a musician. He loves music. All of a sudden, I can assume that I'm supposed to use my gift the way my friend who is gifted similarly using his gift. All of a sudden, I can just play that assumption game. I would think, oh, since Deputy Keys is a keyboardist, is a musician, is a worshiper, then I need to use my gift like Deputy Keys is using it. No, you don't. You only use it the same way I use it if that is God's design for your gift. So the mistake I see a lot of people make is they try to copy other people with similar giftings, trying to do what other people are doing without even consulting God and say, God, you gave me this gift. How am I supposed to use it? Prayer would help you to do that. Will help you to know the how. Will help you to know the way to use what is given you. You know what? If I didn't take a break in 2015 to seek the face of God about what He wants me to do with this gift, I would not be here today. It was because I took a break. I went into a season of prayer, of praying and fasting, and said, God, you've given me this gift. I want to find out what is your design for this gift that you've placed on the inside of me. I don't just want to do what somebody else is doing because they're doing it so well. It's great to be inspired by people. Don't get me wrong. Be inspired by people. You know, I'm hoping that my journey has inspired you one way or the other, and that is great. But being inspired doesn't mean you have to copy what I do, or do what I do, or do what you've been called to do the way that I do it. God gave you a gift. He has a plan for that gift. So ask Him. how do you want me to use this gift? That is the beginning of everything. If I did not take that step in 2015, I don't think the ministry will be where it is today. Because I came out of that season of prayer, and God told me how He wanted me to do my music. He said, keep it simple. Don't try to do anything complicated with it. He said, play from a pure heart. Keep it simple. I will, through your simplicity, draw people to myself. Meaning that I was thinking of how to complicate this music, how to make it really, let me complicate this thing. Let me make it really, whatever. No. God said, hey, chill, but don't complicate your music. So if you've listened to my music, you see how simple it is. It is by design. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to sound complicated. I'm not trying to be like somebody else. I'm trying to be me. I'm using my gift the way God has called me to use it. And the blessing is in the obedience. All that you see today is in the obedience. So my encouragement to you is to get into your prayer closet and talk to God about what He's giving you and ask Him, how do you want me to use this? One thing I was sharing with my wife the other day, I said, if God tells you something, if God tells you to do something, maybe you are praying or a prophetic word came and God said you should do something. I said to my wife, I said, don't just go ahead and do it. I said, the first thing you must do after you've heard that word, obviously receive the word and say, God, I've heard what you've said, but how? Many of us, God tells us to do something, but we don't wait to ask Him how He wants us to do it. We just go off and start doing it, and we now look for somebody that is doing similar things around and say, Mr. This is doing this, Mr. That is doing it. It's similar to what I've been called to do, so let me do it as well. No. Ask Him how. That's what prayer helps you to do. Is you're not just talking to God, you're taking time to listen to God and say, God, how do you want me to do this? The blessings is in obedience. I'm celebrating 10 years today because by His grace, I've been able to stay the course and be obedient to what He has called me to do and how He has called me to do it. So don't assume, ask Him. Bible says Matthew 7:7, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be opened. God wants you to ask Him. Don't leave the presence of God having received an instruction and then go ahead and do your own thing. Let me share, you know the story of Mary, right? Mary, the Virgin Mary. When angel Gabriel came to Mary and said, oh, you are highly favored of the Lord. Blessed are you among the women. You're going to have a baby supernaturally, and his name shall be called Jesus. Mary was freaked out and said, what is this man talking about? I'm going to have a baby without being with a man, and his name shall be Jesus, and it's just going to be a supernatural conception. Mary said, okay, thank you for the word, thank you. He said, but how shall this thing be? Mary told Gabriel, thank you for delivering the message. I got it, but please explain to me how this thing would happen. And that's what I'm talking about. God has spoken to you about what you need to do. God has shown you your gifting. God has revealed to you your passion, what you need to do. God has shown you your purpose. Ask Him, how am I supposed to do this thing? Don't assume, but seek for clarity. And when you get that clarity and you now commit yourself to it, that's where the blessing is. That's where the impact begins. That's where you now begin to see that thing begin to be a mighty tool in the hand of God. Because now God is the one driving this thing. It's not you anymore. God is the one responsible for it. My part is to obey God. His part is to do what He had promised. That's how this thing works. My part is to obey God. His part is to fulfill His word. So your part is to find out, what must I do? And then commit yourself to doing it. His part is to make sure that He fulfills His word and He blesses that which He has called you to do. And the last thing that prayer would help you to do is it will help you to stay in touch with God throughout the process. You know, let me share this with you. I pray more these days than I play the keyboard. I pray more than I play. I pray more than I play, because every day I realize how much more of God I need to be able to sustain the impact that this ministry is making all around the world. So that will put a weight on you that you need God. I've told people this, and I'm not ashamed to say it. The day I stop praying, the day I stop checking in with God, the day I assume that I've arrived and I don't need God anymore, you will notice. You will notice. So God is not just a one-time thing. It's not that you got the plan, God showed you how, and then you run away and start doing your own thing. No. Even though I know what I'm supposed to do, every week, every day, I still ask Him, is this what we're supposed to be doing? Are we supposed to be doing something else? So don't get too familiar with God that you feel like you figured this thing out. No, you haven't figured it out. You need God every step of the way. I've needed Him for 10 years, and I'm going to continue to need Him for the next 10 or 20 or however long He allows me to do this for. So it's very important. So let me just do a quick recap. First, don't despise the little. Discover the little. Embrace the little. Know that God can do so much with it. Number two, keep your focus. Devote everything you have to that one thing. 100%. Don't be distracted. And watch it grow. And the last thing is, prayer is essential. Prayer should be the foundation upon which you build everything.